Good morning. If you've not heard, we're celebrating Women's Day all week. And for our next guest, the sky could never have been the limit because the sky was just the start.
That is right. Captain Parul Patel is in the studio, who is a pilot flying high with KQ. She's been in the aviation industry for a number of years. She's captain of the B787 aircraft. Apart from being a pilot, she's also been hiking and just recently conquered Mount Kili.
She does a lot more than me. But we'll be talking about that in this hour. So keep it here to the Morning Fix.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your Captain Bhargav speaking. You are currently on board Radio 44's flight. It's going to be a smooth journey here with full of entertainment. And we have a special guest with us today, Captain Parul Patel.
You should leave that to the professionals.
I know.
That was good, actually. No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, if you're a little bit confused, let me bring you up to date. We've got a very special guest in studio with us. It is Parul Patel. She is a real captain. She flies with KQ and she's a captain of the B787. And we've invited her here because it's Women's Day. And in aviation in particular, the amount of women who are captains is very minuscule. Less than 2% of all captains are women, and that's absolutely shocking if 60% plus of the workforce is women. We're seeing a little bit of a discrepancy. So Parul, I want to just start with the basics. How long have you been flying and how did this all start?
Well, I've been flying for 21 years now. How it started, I can't tell you. For some reason, it was just ingrained in me. I think I heard my dad once say that he wanted to be a pilot, but his mom said no. So I think that was ingrained in me since I was very young, 5 years old, and from that's where I guess it started.
Wow, so it was a childhood dream and you've gone out there and really succeeded at it.
Yes.
Amazing.
Let me tell this, for most men, or boys rather, not even men, almost every boy has a dream of becoming a pilot.
It was yours, wasn't it?
Yes. I in fact went for my CPL and then same thing happened. My mom said,
oh wow.
No, this is something you shouldn't be doing. But you know what? You grew up in a small town in Kenya.
Yes.
Right? Kirinyaga County.
Yes.
How was that? How was growing up there? And how many people have actually from that county or from your town gotten into aviation?
Well, growing up in Kirinyaga was fantastic. As you said, I'm a hiker, so outdoor for me is awesome. You have rivers and rolling hills. What more do you want as a kid? And it was a really nice small town, so you know each other, you know the neighbors, Currently, the people I know from the town itself who are pilots, I think are about 10 to 15 of us. So that's quite a high number for a very small town.
That is a high number. There must be something in the water in that town.
So.
If you want to be a pilot, head over to Kirinyaga County. Well, we'll be diving into how you actually then got from Kirinyaga to Nairobi and working for the biggest airline in Kenya, of course, and those challenges you might have faced as a woman. So keep it here to Radio 44. We're in conversation with Parul Patel. You can send in your questions to 0758 123 444. Up next, I've got Sukshinder Shinda, king of Bollywood. It's Akia playing for you on The Morning Fix. Lady Gaga, Poker Face, playing for you early in the morning on The Morning Fix. This morning, we are going back to our International Women's Day interviews, and we've actually got a KQ captain in studio. It's Parul Patel who is with us this morning. So let's dive back into the questions. Parul, I know you touched lightly on how you knew you wanted to become a pilot. You said it's always been this childhood dream, but there are some women especially who might be discouraged from such a career because people tend to say, you have family obligations, you'll be flying in and out. Also, men are discouraged, like Bhargav, you had mentioned. How did you put that aside and say, this is my dream, I'm going to focus on it, I don't care what anyone thinks?
Well, I guess it comes with my personality. I'm somebody who doesn't listen to anybody. Should ask my parents that. That's how I did it. But as you said, the thing that comes that women should not be pilots because you will not be home or anything like that, that's not true. A lot of our lady pilots have families, they have kids, and they manage. It's just about you organizing yourself. As long as you're organized, KQ will give you a roster.
Yes.
So, you organize your life according to that roster. So anybody out there who thinks it's not for women and you can't manage with your family, that's not true at all.
I love that. So, if you're a young girl and you're being discouraged, you've heard it from the horse's mouth. You can, because you get your roster 28 days in advance.
Yes.
Easy to plan forward.
Yeah.
Exactly. Generally we feel that, oh man, flying in and out is going to be a tough one. When am I going to get time? But hey, you eventually do get time.
Yeah.
But also, I wanted to ask you, where did you get your PPL, which, by the way, is a private pilot license?
Thank you so much for clarifying.
CPL is commercial pilot license. So where did you get the PPL and the CPL from?
My PPL, I did it locally in
Okay.
Kenya at Kenya School of Flying at Wilson Airport. And then the CPL, I got it done in America. It's quite quicker, and it was slightly cheaper back then. Yeah.
Okay, so you've had a long journey, learning in America, learning here. So that's great to hear that we can actually... There's a stigma that if you want to enter certain fields, you need to study abroad. But that's not the case per se, is it?
Not really, no, because you can do everything here. There are a lot of my friends who've done their entire flying here in Kenya at Wilson Airport.
There
so
you
it can
go.
be done here.
There you go. And I think my last question is, when you joined, you said 21 years ago, was there any woman at KQ at the time?
Yes, there was one, Irene Mutungi.
One single.
One.
And now, do you have like a rough estimate of how many women work there?
Yes, initially we were 45, and then now it's gone down a bit to about 30 now.
Okay,
Yeah.
There you go. If you are a woman out there, there is opportunity for you. Go chase that. We're continuing this interview all the way till 9 a.m. So if you've got any questions, 0758 123 444. I just want to ask you, was it hard to get that opportunity at Kenya Airways? And till today, do you sometimes feel some level of underestimation at work?
Yes, getting into KQ is quite challenging because you have to go through a lot of interviews and tests. I mean, they want the best. It is an international airline, so yes, it is quite a challenge. In terms of being underestimated, I think we go through that every single day. If it's not the engineer or your co-pilot or the passengers, especially the passengers. It comes a lot from the passengers because your colleagues have gotten used to you by now, but the passengers is where they look out the window and they'll see a woman sitting there and they're like, they'll ask the cabin crew, are you sure we'll get there?
No, I mean, that must take a toll on you being constant, because you can do it. Of course, you've flown planes for 20 odd years, but it must hurt a little bit to hear a passenger who knows nothing about flying saying that.
Yeah, it is, but then now you grow a thick skin, and then you just let it pass, and then when you make the most awesome landing and he'll be like, oh, she did that.
Well, I have a question on that and another one. Do you really get nervous before flight? And also, what important personalities have you flown from one place to the other?
Yes, I do get nervous all the time because in flying everything changes. It's very dynamic. Like now they'll tell you, okay, the weather in West Africa is clear skies. You get there and it's completely different. You've not planned for it. So yes, the nervousness does come, but once you get in, you start getting on with the job. Important personalities I've flown. One is my dad.
Yes, that is very important.
Is the most important person. But I did quite a few flights with the president of South Sudan, Salva Kiir. I've flown the former president of Liberia, Ellen Sirleaf, and I have flown now the usual, our football team,
The usual.
the Kenyan rugby team.
That's just a normal Tuesday.
We've had the usual Captain Parul Patel right here in the studio with us.
Exactly. I just have one last question. How does it feel to be working in a very male-dominated industry? Do you think it affects you, or are there some specific challenges?
Yes, initially it did affect me quite a bit because I joined the airline when I was really young. So when the older people start telling you, what are you doing here? You need to be in the kitchen, or things like that. So it did affect me in the beginning, but then I grew a thick skin and I always used to bring my A game. So at some point they started realizing, okay, look, she's more than a kitchen girl, she can actually do what she says she can do.
I mean, you hear that a lot, even in the media industry. People will tell us, grow a thick skin. How? Is there any specific advice? Because I am struggling. It's very difficult to switch off to other people's opinions. I know you might not be able to give advice on that, but how did you do it?
As you said, I just switched everyone off. Yeah, and I just moved on with what I was doing. I just concentrate on what I do. That's how I coped with it.
I mean, that was a message from our guest yesterday, Zambi Mate. She had said, I just let my work speak for me. I don't need to speak. My work is good enough. And I think that's been our message.
Yeah.
It's going to be our message for
I
the
think
rest
for
of
all the women, but I would want to ask you, what's your message for all the young aspiring pilots out there?
To everyone, do not let anybody in this entire world tell you you cannot do it. You can. The first step is your hardest step, but once you take that step, I promise you that everything falls into place. Just
Love
take
it.
that first step.
I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's been a great interview. And stay tuned if you want to hear more from women, because tomorrow we've got real estate giant Lena Gallot with us. This whole week we have some amazing interviews here on The Morning Fix. For now, we've got Shreya Ghoshal, KK, Vishal, Dadlani, a trio, Up Till Forever, playing for you on The Morning Fix. Good morning.